Hi, I am having total 5.6 years of experience in Java and various Spring frameworks like Spring MVC, Spring Boot, Microservices, Spring Batch, and with Java 8 version. Along with that, I my current company. I'm associated with working for Citibank project. So current in the before that I used to work with Infosys, and in current project the roles and responsibilities include like I'm an individual contributor and like understanding whatever the Jira tickets are being assigned, uh, and then writing the code for the then again writing the JUnit test cases for the written code, and also as the application is in Spring Batch, so for testing the application or making the dev testing, we need to deploy it on server. So I do have a little exposure of Unix to deploy the application on Unix server. Yeah, and we do are following the CI/CD pipeline and working in Agile.
Okay, that's great. So we will start with
Mhm.
Spring Boot. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So what is Spring Boot auto configure?
S- Auto configuration means we are using like whatever components we have for the Spring Boot application. Auto configuration makes loads them at the time of instantiation. Like the components in are like controllers or repositories or at the rate service classes and so on.
Okay. Okay, so what are the different advantages of Spring Boot over Spring?
Hmm. Okay. Like Spring Boot is like most suitable for rapid application development. As it does has many features inside like starter dependencies for dependency management, then which comes along like for a web whatever dependency we require. So we do have parent dependency, web dependency, and so on. So dependency management is one thing which is very simpler. Second is like very less boilerplate code which is required for configuration of beans and everything, means less XML files as compared to Spring MVC. Then we do have the embedded server in Spring Boot application. Uh, we do not need to externally configure Tomcat and explicitly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how you are managing security in your Spring Boot application?
Um, like we means in the current application you're saying,
Yeah, yeah. In any of your
or how
project or
in
any
general?
in general.
Hmm.
So you can give example of any of your
Okay.
project also.
Okay. Like using JWT tokens, we can like OAuth, we can do
Okay.
making use of the JWT tokens while for authorization purpose.
Okay. So like which algorithm of uh, so there are I think three part of JWT token, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have JWT token, it will be like in string format, but in that you have three
Mm-hmm.
parts. So one is header, one is payload, and other is uh, like signature algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what type of algorithm you are using in your project to uh, like deprecate your headers and payloads?
Uh, I think MD5 we used
Okay.
for yeah, and like for authorization purpose specifically, like whether he has the right access or not. So we used JWT token according to the access
Okay.
or level admin, then for more access for normal user then access.
And what is the life of this token in your project?
Uh, about life, I'm not sure.
I mean, after some time, this
Means every
token.
time it should, uh, right. Means like every time it generates a new token whenever the request is there to for login of that user. But session, I do not know that how long this token will be live or expire. I'm
Okay.
not sure about that.
And how do you implement this in your application?
Actually, we had one module for login portal as such for which was redirecting to our application later on. So there, while entering the like username and password of that user, uh, when taking the password, we used to like generate the token using OAuth only,
Okay.
and I cannot explain more like code side,
Yeah, yeah.
but
So, have you used any other feature of Spring Boot like dev tools, actuators, admin, Spring Boot admin?
actuated. Hmm,
Yeah.
yeah, like a Spring Boot admin, like for it is like similar to discovering the services only. So Spring Boot admin have used. Uh, so we will come to know that whatever services are running, microservices are running, whether they are down or not. So, and actuator is also used, like for checking the like health status of that services as an HTTP endpoints. So, um, yeah,
Okay.
means how many times the number of requests is being called or hit, or and so on.
Okay, so are you using microservices as well?
In current project, we are not using. In the previous project, they have used.
Okay.
Current project is like Spring Batch application, so we do not have any web. Means it is not a
Okay.
web application,
So,
actually.
are you comfortable with microservices
Mm-hmm.
architecture,
Yes, yes.
working with that? So, in your previous project,
Yeah.
how you are managing the
Mm-hmm.
service discovery?
We were using Eureka server, so and running the like all the services as an Eureka client, which were getting registered, and for ports like a port number, uh, like running multiple instances of a service if we want, or we do not want the static port. For that we use Zookeeper, which
Okay.
was means allocating the dynamic ports to those services.
Yeah. So, according to you, what will be the disadvantages of using microservices?
Mm. Actually, when the application becomes really very large in size, at
Yeah.
that time, like monitoring the service, like it is already done by some discovery servers or API gateway. But when it becomes very huge, like branching of those microservices becomes difficult to manage. Like if it
Yeah, correct.
becomes very large in size. Yeah, so that is one issue. Because for every individual responsibility, we are having one microservice.
And are you using something for fault tolerance in microservices?
Yeah, actually, we made use of fallback methods, like making use of history dashboard for that to check the methods, how many times they failed or passed, and everything.
Okay.
So circuit breaker pattern we implemented, like sending the default response if the service is not reachable from the controller itself.
Okay, so suppose if any of the services is down, what type of response you are sending?
Mhm.
So are you hard coding it or are you sending it from somewhere uh, in some file or something?
Ideally, we did hard coding only, like a HTTP, like a JSON response we made and sent it uh, to the client application if the service is down.
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay. So what do you understand by uh, REST controller?
Okay, okay. So, at the rate REST controller, we are using to annotate the class as a controller, but along with that, it embeds the it internally also serves the purpose of response body annotation. So it is a combination of at the rate controller and response body, where the response body for that particular REST API will be like JSON. So, like in case of controller, it contrasts to controller annotation. We can means response body we need to set it explicitly, and at the rate controller is most suitable where we want to return a response body as a view or render a view. But at the rate REST control is beneficial if we want to send the JSON response.
Okay. So in REST there are few methods,
Mm-hmm.
curd methods, create, update, delete,
Mm-hmm.
patch is there, put is there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what is the
Yeah.
difference between put and patch?
Okay, so like put we are using for updating only, and patch is also serving the same purpose, but just the difference is to like for partial update we are making use of patch.
So uh, are you like aware about IOC?
Yeah. IOC is like a inversion of control.
Yeah.
So, like means the it is the main pillar for the foundation of Spring Boot framework, we can say. Like let's say if a class A is dependent on the object of class B, so in that case they are tightly coupled with each other. So like this, if we remove or if the object is not created for class B, then class A cannot execute it or it needs always. So to make them loosely coupled, we means in the Spring framework, IOC was introduced. So, like responsibility of instantiation of this objects, we can say, or was being transferred to the container, IOC container, which takes care of this at the start of the application. So that is what the concept of IOC is. Like the control is shifted from the classes to the container.
Okay. Okay, so suppose if you want to exclude some of the package from auto scanning, component
Mhm.
scanning, so what you will
Mhm.
do in your Spring Boot application?
In the main class, whenever we will annotate our application at the Spring Boot application, so we can you like inside that parenthesis we can make use of exclude equals to the package name.
Okay, okay. And what do you understand by auto wiring?
Auto wiring, like auto wiring we are making use if we want the object of any particular class, let's say DAO class in inside our service class. So we are making at the rate auto wired annotation use of that and declaring the objects. So
Okay.
that is one way of auto wiring using annotation.
Have you used any of the design pattern?
Uh, yeah,
Which one?
mm, we have used like singleton, we can say, for logger class. Then we do have used a facade pattern where there was a scenario we were having more than two databases and we need to generate the report based upon the like type of database the reports were varying. So we had one interface and the classes for various database, and then we were having generate report and data source method. So we used to pass the data source name and report type name, so it used to generate from that data source whichever we want.
Okay.
So there we use made the use of facade pattern, we can say.
Facade. Okay. Okay. Any other design pattern?
Um,
Okay. Okay, no issues.
mhm. No as such.
Okay, so do you have experience with hibernate?
Yeah, using JPA, we used JPA repository.
Okay. Okay. Spring data or JPA?
Yeah, JPA means Spring JPA,
Okay.
JPA repository.
Okay. Okay. So, like, so I will give you. Do you have experience in SQL?
Yes.
Okay. So, if I give you a scenario,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
can you write down a query for me in chat box?
Okay, sure, sure, sure.
So, like, suppose I have a table of employees,
Mhm.
and in that I want to find uh, so in that table you have information uh, like employee details, employee ID, employee salary, everything.
Mhm.
And you need to find out employees who are also managers, because uh, so let me rephrase this question. So you have an uh, employee table.
Mhm.
Okay, so there you have employee name, employee uh, their job specification, and their ma- managers IDs as well. So if the uh, employee name is something like, if there is employee ID also. Okay, so
Mhm.
for each and every employee there will be a manager ID also in that the same table, and manager ID would be
Oh,
employee ID for that manager. Yes, I am able to see this.
Okay.
Okay, so assume that you already have a list, so no need to create a list from the scratch. Assume that you have employee list already.
We want the age to be greater than 40.
Yeah, greater than 30, 40, anything.
We will filter it like employee where e dot age is greater than 40, and we will like perform collecting it into some collector. So we select it as a string only, as a list employee only. This way we can have it.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's fine. And if you want to find out an employee with exact name Raj, then what you will do?
We can use like map, make use of map,
Okay,
filter with age and dot map.
okay.
So, um,
But why? I mean, map we use for something else. Map is to
lowercase or
like
uppercase.
perform certain operation on each of the element of uh, stream. But if you want to like filter a stream and find out a single name which is Raj or anything, you have to use filter method.
Yeah, so we can filter it here as well then,
Yeah,
and e dot name equals to Raj.
okay. You are assigning it. Yeah, you can just use equals method.
Equals dot.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
equals method and uh, equals method. Yes. Okay. And why you use this AND operator?
For both conditions, like age should be greater than 14 and name should be Raj.
So there will be single AND or double AND.
It should be double. It is like unary operator.
And what is the difference between single AND operator and double AND operator?
Like single and is like unary operation. Like we can say or and for that purpose. And double and is for like both the conditions, like conditional operator we can say.
Okay. So this double AND like it only evaluates the second condition if first condition is true, and in the case of AND operator it evaluates both the condition.
Both.
Yeah, so I think single AND would be fine to evaluate both the conditions. So what do you understand by heap memory and stack memory?
Okay. Heap memory, like for storing the like string constant pool we can say, or like for wherever during the execution, whatever values we are temporarily storing it are stored on heap memory to hold
Okay,
the values.
and what about stack memory?
Stack, stack I'm not sure for what it is used.
Okay. Okay, so why string is immutable in Java?
uh, means whenever we are creating any string, so it will first check that in the string constant pool whether it is available. If it is already available, then it will not create a new string object. It will simply point the reference to that object. So this that's why the string is like say immutable. So let's say whenever I modify the string, it will not update the existing string which it is pointing. If it is not present, it will create a new string and point the reference to that new string.
Okay.
So
Okay, so uh, can you write down a program for me? You need to manipulate
Mm-hmm.
string. So you have a string. Okay. String is like anything, and you need to print first non-repeated character.
Non-repeated.
Yeah,
Okay. First non-repeated.
yeah. So if you have any string like uh, uh, something Spring Boot. So in Spring Boot, what will be the non-repeated character?
Uh, it will be like O.
O will be repeated.
Non-repeated, you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
S will be
Non-repeated is
non-repeated.
yes only. Yeah.
Yeah. Then P will be non-repeated. Then R will be non-repeated. Something like this.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
you can take a example of any string and find out first non-repeating.
First, we will convert it into character array first, so that it will be easier for manipulation.
Okay. Okay. So uh, in this map, I mean, in this loop, you will pick each and every character from that character array, and first you will check that that if this character is exist in this array or not. If it is exist, then you will increase the value. So in value, you will keep the counts. So if it exists, then you will keep increasing the count. Otherwise, you will store the element in array and start the count. I mean, give the value 1, count value 1.
yeah, means we will iterate over this.
Yeah,
And yeah, so as we do not have any sequence in map, so uh, we want it to be the first element, right?
yeah.
Sequence is not maintained.
So first you will check that if this character input I, input 1 or input I, it exists in
Yeah,
the
means
array or
if it
not.
is greater than less than one, means equals to one only. So we will store only those letter characters inside
So
the array.
yeah, so there is a method of this map contains key.
Contains, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so in this result map only we can take like uh, e dot uh, date key
result.
for that.
If result map is map, right? So if result map
Yes,
contains key.
contains key. Mhm.
Yeah,
As like whatever we are giving this from the string array, right? Input.
yeah. If it contains, are you sharing your screen?
Yeah.
So are you writing something?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you not able to see the notepad?
Yeah, yeah. I was not able to see anything.
We went till this, like the second, please ignore the second for loop. So, like
Sec.
if we will check, like if the map dot can see that array element, so we will search for S. If S value is greater than 1, then we will skip it. Then we will go for like P and so on. So let's take that S is occurred twice. Let's assume P that occurred once. So like if P dot get value, whatever is that value of that P in that map, if it is greater less than like equals to 1 only, so we will print that and return from that method, or
Okay.
let's say break from that loop in that case.
Okay.
So it will be like
So inside this if block, you are like there is a count int count result map dot get input plus 1. So you are initializing this count every time.
uh, yeah, means every time when there is a occurrence already existing, then we will take its value and then plus make it plus 1 and then put in the map. Or we
Okay.
can, rather than declaring it, we can directly make this use of result map dot get input of I plus 1 inside put method only.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I am done from my side. Do you have any questions?
No, no as such.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.